not have fallen, I would not have found you. Angel flying too close to the ground. So I patched up your broken wings and hung around a while, trying to keep your spirits up and your fever down. I knew someday you'd fly away, for love's the greatest healer to be found. So leave me if you need to, I will still remember. Angel flying too close to the ground. By Willie Nelson.
I didn't say that. He said that. Last year they gave us donuts. We just wanted to return the favor, but they didn't want our donuts. So, whatever.
I thought the guy was very reasonable.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, that's reasonable. Reasonable that we never said his donuts might have cyanide in them, but he made it very clear that ours might.
Well,
so.
yeah, he was intimidated by the numbers of us because we were such a big gang.
Sure. Okay.
It was my hat that scared him away.
All right.
You could tell I might be an Illuminatus.
Well, you definitely, you look like a British Illuminatus to me.
Well, indeed. Where do you think it all started, buddy?
All right. Anyways, donuts are going to waste, I guess.
I think I might even have one. I'm really, really hungry.
Please.
I don't know. You might have cyanide in them or something.
And now you believe their theories.
Well, you know, he was very reasonable, like I said.
Cyanide donuts, please.
Yes.
All right, thank
Give
you.
them back to Sean now.
All right. Can I ask you a favor? Consideration. We got a bad name. We have this. Well, then tell them this. My name is Peter Alexander, and I will move this in 30 minutes. And because of this, I'm here talking to one interview, I'll be gone. And if you can be nice about it for 30 minutes, I'll be out of the way. I'll pull this back up. You already said that, and I already understand. I'm just telling you what I'm prepared to hear.
They're already trying to kick you out of here? You just got here. First bully tactic of the day. It's a nice truck. It's like an employee truck.
It's actually a nice spot right there.
It's just there. For some reason they have a massive truck here.
Must be some extreme right-winger because they have a oh no I didn't sticker. We got like a right-wing extremist here.
Nice.
You have your other camera, Greg?
What's this?
Maybe you can help me with mine then.
Sure.
You're gonna come back and do an interview, so
You want me to
I
help
want to
you?
get some of this stuff on film.
Sure.
I'll probably record it too on my phone.
Alright. I've got a Joe. I've got this one.
Why is my one on my mic?
You are my God, because you're with me, because you're with me. I will not fear. My hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasure, Lord, you are. My friend and king, anointed one, most holy.
When I took the volume first, then I talked. No, I had it down first.
Unless they come back.
You obviously had some good dialogue with the sheriff, right?
I always try.
Yeah, so
Let's get
we had actually really good dialogue with the sheriff last year too. They didn't have any barriers that much.
It's just to make things beautiful. And the confusion reigns supreme. We're born into a world of lies.
So let's just take the Bible right out, right? Let's not even go to the Word of God, which was inspired by Him directly. 501c3s, I agree. That's going to be the downfall of the church. It's through greed.
If you want to have an intelligent conversation, don't put words in my mouth.
Okay,
if you
wait
want to have
a
an
minute.
intelligent conversation, let's have a
If you
conversation.
want to have an intelligent conversation, don't interrupt somebody when they're trying to explain something to you. See, you already lorded over me by you thinking you're smarter than me.
I never
Don't
said that.
question
Again, you're
my
putting words in my mouth,
intelligence.
although it might be true.
I put words in your mouth. Looks like you got plenty of your own in your mouth.
Okay, that's good enough.
How's it going?
Daniel, get
I am
behind
well.
me.
I'm going to take a stand for the Bible here. The Word of God is our direction, our only direction. We stray from that, we have problems. And that's why we're in the mess we have today.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
You can.
Just what is your reason for coming out here to the Grove today?
Because there's a stone owl in there that's been sitting there since 1872. Maybe even longer than that. I like to know where the origin of that thing came from. Did they make it here or did they bring it in? We know from the gods of the Old Testament, which were detestable to Jehovah God, that God said, do not have anything to do with them. Do not worship creatures, worship the Creator, me. The whole Buddha statue takes away from Jesus Christ being Lord and Savior. Jesus Christ is our ruler. He is the only one we are to worship. And I can tell every elitist in there and every people, even the gentleman in the white hat here, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord.
Thank you.
Christine is a well-meaning person, is sincere, and it would be wonderful for someone with that sort of dedication to be very open in her heart and realize that that there's a book that every Christian person should see, and it's called The Bible Fraud by Tony Bushby, which is a comparison between the ancient Sinai Bible and this New King James Version, which was written by a guy named Shakespeare, Sir Francis Bacon, and it was done in Masonic codes, and that there's no less than 14,800 changes and alterations in this book, and that from that time, from the way back in the day, it was spoken of to beware of religious deceivers, of which this country has no shortage of, and that if we were really seeking to serve, that we would do just that. As powerfully and as humbly as we can, and maybe sometimes not so humbly. What we need in this country is to be spiritual, not religious. Religions are for pigeons. To be sheep, you got to go deep, and it's a lion's roar that's going to shut down the corporate store of war.
A Bohemian.
A Bohemian Club pencil.
Very cool. Sharpened too.
Yeah, ready to use.
The eraser.
It's probably got Illuminati cooties on it. I'm gonna probably come down with some Illuminati disease just from holding it.
You got a gift.
You better not touch me ever again.
You're contaminated.
Yeah.
You just found that
baby.
right here on the ground.
Yeah.
Huh? All right. Paraphernalia.
the constabulary officials coming by.
Oh, good. Good. I wanted to ask him a question too.
He's better.
Oh, come on.
He wasn't in a conversational mood.
I just want to ask them why they're here. What are they doing
He
here?
didn't want you to be asked that question. Yep, talking with Mr. Greg Fernandez Jr., author of False Flags, and what were
Serve No Evil. Serve No Evil is the book that I'm currently working on right now.
Awesome.
So, which has a whole chapter dedicated to the Grove and to the Bohemian Club. Some of the history of the Bohemian Club, their history, maybe not the true history, but from what they say and how the Bohemian Club got started and all that good stuff. But today I find it a little weird. It's a little strange that they would have, well, not so much the no smoking sign. I mean, obviously, if you're inside there, you can do whatever you want. You know.
Yeah.
You can pee on trees. I don't know. Maybe you can't smoke in there. I really don't know. But
I'm sure they're smoking in there, Greg.
I'm sure they're smoking something. But
they're smoking tobacco in there, Greg.
Well, they might be smoking other things
I
too.
think marijuana may encourage a little too much free thought and that kind of thing.
There's always crack. Crack is the rich man's drug, right? So, or no, that's coke.
Yeah.
But what
OxyContin,
really,
I think, is
OxyContin?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so they're popping pills.
Probably, yeah. They go good with alcoholic beverages, I heard.
There might be some pharmaceutical company CEOs in there. We just don't know really. You know.
I bet you a nickel there's one or two pharmaceutical company CEOs in there.
You might
Maybe
be
not
right.
today, you know, I don't know. If a lot of the important people gone home already today.
They could be, or maybe they're getting ready for the big ceremony tonight, because tonight is supposed to be the big cremation of care that brings everything in, you know. So you get to throw away all of your cares for at least 2 weeks.
But that young busser we just spoke to a few minutes ago, didn't he? Well, I thought he said that the cremation of care happened last night.
He did, but when I asked him, so it happened on Friday, he said that he didn't really know. So it's possible. It's usually on the first Saturday. That's usually when they do their.
And that was a week ago
cremation.
yesterday, then, huh?
It better not have been.
That was a week ago today, then, huh?
It's supposed to be tonight.
Oh, okay.
Tonight is supposed to be the big shindig.
I was thinking today was Sunday.
Yeah. Well, if it was Sunday, I'd probably be in church. Hopefully, I'd be in church.
This is July 11th, 2015.
7-Eleven.
And we're in Monte Rio, California, at the site of the Bohemian Grove, the Bohemian Club Encampment. They got badges that say Encampment 2015. Very prosaic.
2-week summer camp, right?
Yeah.
We found at least one pencil.
Yep, I personally
Yes, you did.
discovered, purely by accident,
You sure did.
a Bohemian Club pencil.
But this is new. This is something I've never seen. They parked their car here, and then at the same time put a no parking sign here. So how can we assume that any car that is parked there is going to be towed when they clearly have a car parked here that's not being towed?
There's an Orwellian aspect to it.
There is, right? Yeah. I thought that was a little strange. And why? What is the point?
Freedom is slavery.
I guess so. I mean, we never really park our cars here. Why they would park their truck here, it just doesn't make sense to me.
To show their brand loyalty to Ford Company, which has historically been associated with police and with intelligence, like, you know, FBI and stuff.
That would make sense. Well, we tried to ask the cops why they were here and why they are pretty much guarding the Bohemian Grove. We have at least 2 sheriff's deputies out in front there, and we stopped one of them, and he told me that he was going to be right back, and he never came back.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting. I don't know how much longer I can wait, but I would like to know, like, why are the sheriff deputies here? What are they doing here? Are they here in case something goes wrong inside? Are they here in case something goes wrong outside?
No, I think probably they just are assigned. It's just a detail that people in good status in the local force have a chance to get assigned to. You know, it's just a way to earn money this day. I don't think they have any ideological attachment.
I don't know. I sure hope not. We were told that Chris Matthews is here. Was here yesterday. Might be here today again. But
I hear the bottles crashing.
Oh, that sky just is disgusting.
Look at that, the cloud.
That's gross. I love heavy metal poisoning.
Tequila sunrise.
No. Wrong country. I saw you yesterday. No, I saw you in my dreams. We were walking hand in hand on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. We were playing in the sun. We were having so much fun on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. Sound of the ocean soothes my restless soul. Sound of the ocean rocks me all night long. Those hot long summer days, lying there in the sun on a white sandy beach of Hawaii.
Trees are singing today.
Massive, like redwood tree. It's like just huge. Like old, like tall, just like wide, like tree. Kind of like if you've seen a.
And I think the good bands were here yesterday too. I have a suspicion that the good bands, like the jazz bands, are on Friday night.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense. But it's supposed to kick off this Saturday, like now. Today's supposed to be the kickoff. So I don't know. It's
But the guys have been in camp already, probably. If it's like a
Seems
retreat,
like
they came yesterday and they had a nice sleep in their tent. And
Sure.
Today is the day when the real party is, and they don't even leave the premises probably.
We had one guy stop and pretty much told us that what's going on inside the Bohemian Grove is just silly. It's just a bunch of people acting silly. Thomas Keane has said that what they do here is silly. Lawrence O'Donnell has said what they do here is silly. So there's a lot of people that come here that aren't taking it seriously. It seems like the ones who are outside here, the ones that showed up here to protest, we're some of the only people that are really taking it seriously here. And all that we're taking seriously are these questions. What are they doing here? You know, it's a big difference in just asking what is going on here than to just say we know what they're doing here, because we don't know what they're doing here. The people inside there do, and probably many of them have no idea what the cremation of care really stands for. And the guy basically laughed, and you know, I said, so it's a play. What you're saying is that the cremation of care is just a play. And you know, it's just a lot of laughs, a lot of giggles, but you know, they said the same thing about September 11 too. You know, that was all fun and everybody was laughing at all these different theories and stuff. But when we really try to, you know, separate facts from fiction, what do we find? What do we see that's really going on here? They are doing lakeside chats. They're called chats. They're not called policy discussions. They're called chats. They do have a 40-foot owl here that is not called Mullen, but it is a 40-foot owl.
I forget, what do they call it again?
Owl of Bohemia.
The Owl of Bohemia. Oh, Owl of Bohemia. And they sacrifice care. And when I asked the guy, you know, why sacrifice care? And it's like, oh, we're just, you know, it's just to let everybody know that for these 2 weeks we're going to throw our cares down. We don't have cares. And I said, but do you need a ceremony for that? You know, do you have to burn something before a 40-foot owl to symbolize that you're sacrificing care for 2 weeks?
Maybe
and
those
why
folks do.
sacrifice care? But if they're doing lakeside chats here and if they're talking, that's not sacrificing care to me. I don't know.
How about the Italian consulate?
What?
Why were they here, and then what other consulates are here?
Yeah, who else is here? Who else
Well,
is here?
well, Italy is right behind Greece. They're the next country to probably default in a blatant way, so that it's like a question of will they exit the European Union. And so they're looking at Greece. And of course, they're a bigger economy by far than Greece. And after they drop the bomb, he came home and married Mom.
I didn't think about it. I was like,
You're like, it's gonna be a hot day. It's sunny. I know, that's what I think
Not
too.
too
But I always just like wear your jacket and sit on the
after
I don't know,
that.
it's windy around here.
I was just like, oh,
He became
it's California in the summer. We'll be fine.
Usually it's like that, but I don't know. It's been kind of weird lately. It's been like, what's the term? It's bipolar. It's really weird. At least where I was living, where I'm staying at right now. Like one day it's just like really hot, next day it's just cloudy as hell. It's like 80, 70 degrees out. I'm like, what the hell? It was like 90, 100 degrees out the next day. It's like something like 80, 70 degrees out. And it's windy and cold. I'm like, it's all you guys breathing.
Can I ask you why you decided to come here to the Grove today?
Spirit called me to come here. I was going to go to San Francisco. I've been here on and off for about 10 years. And as I said earlier, if you Google my name and go to the video, the 6.5-minute video, I was interviewed here 2 or 3 years ago by Anthony Hilder, and that interview, along with 2 international lawsuits, one filed out of Sacramento and one filed out of Minneapolis by Jeff Anderson, is what knocked Pope Benedict off the throne. The first pope in 600 years to get kicked off the throne. So I'm here on behalf of helping to open the eyes and be supportive and hope tie together the efforts of well-meaning people that seek to make change for the better.
Have you ever been inside there?
I was inside, yeah. I was inside there once or twice in the 80s, and one of them, as I said, if you Google my name, Peter Cherneff, it's TSCHERNEFF. You Google my name, go to videos, find the blue 6.5-minute YouTube. It describes a particular event that I participated in here, which included some very powerful people in a private ceremony and the termination of a young missing San Francisco boy by the name of Kevin Collins.
Thank you.
Is this just a big party? Is this just a big club? You know, or is it something more? Are they building something here? But
by
to me,
definition, I think it's insulting for them to expect us to assume that there is a secretive meeting of ostentatiously powerful people from around the world to meet in a cloistered environment, and that we're supposed to agree that it's just innocuous, that nothing of consequence is discussed.
That's it.
It's insulting to us
that's all
that
they
we're
say.
supposed to accept that.
There's nothing going on here. There's nothing
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Move along.
Keep moving. And we're like, no, there is something going on.
These aren't the Satan worshippers we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. You know, I think.
But I think they're able to do this partly because there's 2 levels. The spiritual element, which I think is fundamental, and maybe you agree.
I do.
It doesn't have to be imposed upon the rank and file that come here. For them, did you hear that?
Praise Moloch, and that's kind of some of the things that we've been getting today. And these are kids.
Well, it's like, it
They're
reminds me of
kids. They
those.
don't know any
It reminds
better.
me of the gay protesters who, like, you know, they crucified themselves and stuff or something, just to tick off Christians and stuff.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
let
come
people
on.
know that they're doing this partly to offend morality and to offend
Well,
people
it's
who
like-
are religious.
It's like stabbing yourself in the heart, and that's all these kids are really doing. When they walk by and they run by and they make comments, but they won't stop and actually chat with us.
Mm-hmm.
Now they say Moloch. This kid at least twice has driven by and said praise Moloch. What does this kid know that we don't know?
Well,
Obviously,
he
this
probably likes
kid,
heavy metal, you know, and Satan rock.
Well, but what I'm saying is he's made the bond between Moloch and this 40-foot owl.
Mm-hmm.
So You know, why? Like, why would he do that? You know, what are we talking about?
He's having a good time. To
A
him,
lot of
it's
people are having a
associated
good
with
time.
getting good things.
We might have saw one of the guys
The devil's
here,
more fun than God.
might have saw David Rockefeller.
Just like
Look just like David Rockefeller. We don't
You mean
know
an
if it
old
was
bastard, you mean?
I
He was
mean,
a little
really,
guy.
really old.
Yeah, yeah.
kidding.
Yes.
Grimacing at him.
He only grimaces. His face is like a perma grimace.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is it. This is what you have to deal with here. You know, a lot of, I mean, this is like, it's not even high school. This is like middle school. This is like grammar school stuff. And you can't, I can't blame these kids for what they're saying and how much they laugh and how much they, you know, think that this is all funny. That's a tactic. That is a tactic.
Yeah.
That is the same way people
That was a lot to them, though.
I was thinking they were making. What's California? The minimum wage is like what?
But they got to make money. You know, we all need to make money, and these kids are trying to make money too. But one day they will realize that this is not all fun and games. This is real life. And when you grow up and you turn from a child into an adult, then you start taking things like this seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a very selfish thing to just not care about what's going on here. To have a whole ceremony dedicated to murdering care, to sacrificing care, whether it's a play or not, is just weird to me. And then you talk about the people that are coming here. These are very powerful people. These are very powerful people, not only within our country, but around the whole world. So they're not just coming here to just, you know, have fun for 2 weeks. No. Everybody knows what happens on the golf courses. Anyone who knows about business is done on the golf course. Well, welcome to the Bohemian Grove golf course. Here it is, you know, and this is a very, very serious thing that is happening here. And this is not about me trying to prove that I know what's happening here, or that Sean knows what's happening here, or anybody else.
Sean definitely does know what's happening there, though.
We know Sean knows. But, right, Sean?
Hey, I just linked to my YouTube video, just as in the notes.
Yeah, baby. Sean Ackley, ladies and
Sean
gentlemen.
Ackley. Yeah, Sean Ackley who brought all this up, and you know, it's a little frustrating when you see people driving by and they're laughing, giggling, and smiling, and it's like you're smiling while you are being, you know, just being a jackass, basically. You know.
Don't stop believing. By Greg Fernandez Jr.
No, by Eric.
It's Eric Galoob single.
What, you see another camera or something?
The guards are usually over here. I like to talk to them when they come by here. I do see another one. I see a motion sensor over there that I didn't see before. I don't know if the camera will pick that up though.
I heard a former president of the United States made allegations that homosexual behavior happens here.
Yeah, well, it looks like 4 military men just cruise
Oh,
by,
man,
just
I missed
cruised
it.
in there.
I would have saluted.
But yeah, well, so anyways, we're just trying to find out what is going on here. We're not going to stop coming here, and every year Sean sets this up. You know, we are going to be here every year. So don't ever let anyone tell you that there's nothing happening this year at the Bohemian Grove. No, there's something happening every year. Right, Sean?
That's right, Greg. Look, we're going to be out here every single year. We're going to talk to people. You come out here and be with us, and no matter what your political persuasion is, we're going to talk to you, we're going to network, and we're going to figure out what the hell these elites are actually doing, and we're just going to continue to talk about what happens at Bohemian Grove, because ultimately it's Bilderberg West. Bilderberg East happens, and you know, we have people that fly out there. There's tons of coverage of Bilderberg. in all of its European locations, but Bilderberg West is in our backyard. And when stuff happens in our backyard, we're going to be there. And that's what happens. So we're going to talk with staff, we're going to talk with any numbers of the participants that are here. And more importantly, if you're a group that wants to have interest in the Bohemian Grove, what the Bohemians do, talk about political talks, lakeside chats, any of the activities that they might try to put together politically, because guaranteed, Greg, there is political interest that happens here and political policy that gets made here. And let nobody tell you that that's not the case, okay? Political policy is happening right here at the Grove, right now and throughout the next week, okay? The Italian consulate that was here last year is in absolutely no way here because they want to frolic in the nude in the trees, okay? No. They're here because their corporate masters said, we want the Italian government to be here, okay? And who on earth knows who else came last year, who comes come this year, and who comes next year? But you know what? We're going to be here. And you want to send us information? We're up on YouTube, we're up on Facebook. Just get us the information, tell us what's going on, and we'll just share it. That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Look at that.
Veterans and retired law enforcement. Okay? And the way they keep doing that is by getting some kind of 18-year-old, black or white, from somewhere around the country to do a mind-controlled shooting as something that's going to garner sympathy only because
I've seen that before.
somebody
That's
on
not
the
a tail.
TV for
No tail immediately behind it, but it turns into the real fat.
What you're doing with this young lady. I'm sorry she got shot, but the reason this is all happening is to make Sheriff
That is
McCreamy
weird.
look bad, make the police department look bad, and they have done nothing wrong. This is an MK Ultra program. This was people like Dianne Feinstein are deep into this. She's CIA. She's as corrupt as they come, and so is Jerry Brown. And
Never seen one so.
of course, there are a bunch of Jesuits. Jerry Brown's
My old man, Steve Goodman.
The bottom line is I was born in the MK programs since I was born into them. Was pulled out of them by some very powerful spiritual people about 1989, 1990. And I have since turned a lot of the information of things that I was forced to do under multiple personalities, things I didn't even have memories of until 2003. I've turned around and since made them very public, and it's my writings and efforts have had a variety of effects, not excluding, of course, including the termination of Pope Benedict from the throne, first time in 600 years. I've written things about a lot of local events, the missing case of Amber Schwartz Garcia, Kevin Collins, and there was at least one or two others, and that people have actually been murdered over the information I put forth in the courts, which goes into a whole nother level of stuff. But I'm sure you'll be able to review a more lengthy interview that I have with Sean right here today. So I'll be glad to answer anything else real quick if you wish.
What about, I know you probably read the Franklin cover-up and know all about that. Some people say that ties into what goes on here, or to some of the people here, child rape and...
Well, it's way bigger than that. It's been given that 100,000 kids go missing every year in this country, and they disappear into a variety of vortexes. Some of them are otherworldly, like black holes, but a lot of them are underground. We have underground cities people don't know about. We have a lot of underground projects, programs. We have a lot of experimentals going on. There's a lot of people use the word eugenics. But see, that's not really what's happening. It's transgenics is what they're doing. It's not that there's people that are superior. It is black, brown, white, all kinds of colors. People that are the superior families in those races around the world, they are involved in transgenics. They do the eugenics thing in order to have people focused in the wrong direction. And there was a guy named Joseph Mengele, who was very powerful in this country. He had several names. He came under the name Dr. Green, Dr. Greenbaum, Dr. Felix Polk. I knew him. And so in Los Angeles, what's that one church, Dianetics, what church is that? Scientology. They have a museum of psychiatry which deals with all the crazy mind control stuff and the physics stuff they've done since the 1800s, and they got pictures of all these dangerous or notable psychiatrists and doctors, except for one. You know the one they don't have? The one that they have worked with in the past that's top secret, Dr. Joseph Mengele, who died in California in the early 2000s. A guy named Adolphus Hitler, otherwise known as Hitler, died in Lake County, California in 1986. They were both brought over here on the hidden side of Project Paperclip.
Have you seen you've seen the Big Owl in there?
I'm sure I have, but I don't have any memory of it. But in regards to what was the name of the book you mentioned?
The Franklin cover-up.
The Franklin cover-up. One of the children I was involved in was the Amber Schwartz Garcia case. Her picture is in that book. I have had the pleasure, so to speak, or the fortune to meet and speak with Senator John DeCamp on at least 3 occasions over the last 15 years. Actually, longer than that.
Is he still investigating this, or do you know anything? Because I haven't heard much about him recently.
No, he's had a lot of back pain. He's had a lot of back operations, and he's getting quite a bit older now.
Yeah.
And he was good friends and worked with Ted Gunderson, former head of Los Angeles FBI, for a long time. And Ted, rest in peace, died left us 2 years ago.
Yeah, that book made me cry. It really made me cry. It was hard to read, really hard to read.
Well, it touched upon things that allowed other people to bring in things from other directions. That's one of the positive things about it, and it also named names. George Herbert Walker Bush is, I mean, he was on the ground with the guys down there at when Bush was, when Kennedy was terminated in Dallas. And what's interesting, if you really want to know who Frank Sturgis. If you Google Detective James Rothstein and Frank Sturgis, you'll find a very interesting story about what got James Rothstein to become famous and also originally fired from the New York Police Department, because he was ordered to protect a woman who was going to testify in a Kennedy-related matter in the East Coast, and they actually sent in someone to take out this woman. He caught the person, which he was ordered to protect her. He caught this person. He had some sort of an Italian name, but his AKA was Frank Sturgis. Frank then made a phone call out of the jail to the White House and was released in half an hour and never to be seen again. So if you Googled Detective James Rothstein, Frank Sturgis, or Detective James Rothstein, Pope Benedict, you'll find some very interesting stuff. And one more, Detective James Rothstein, followed by Human Compromise.
Maybe this is a training ground here for something bigger, for something better. We'll just have to wait and see. But the one thing that we do know is something is going on here.
Everything's alright. Bring everyone inside when the rain comes over the mountain.
So who here said they know John Jekyll? Yeah, it's amazing.
So right now we're driving back from the Bohemian Grove 2015. Eric, what did you think? First time at the Grove.
It was an enjoyable time meeting some interesting people and going into God's country.
What is God's country?
The Sonoma County redwood forests.
It's cool to hear you play some songs too. I like that.
Standing under the redwoods in the canopy with the sun wafting through, strumming my ukulele, crooning a couple of melodies. It was very pleasant.
Yeah, it's very, very peaceful, I thought. There was a strange vibe that I kept getting at that place. It just felt something felt off. I'm still not sure what that was, but
It might have been a very eventful day yesterday at the Grove.
yeah.
That might have been part of what we were sensing in the people who were there going in and out, what they knew or didn't know, what they had heard or hadn't heard about what had happened. Maybe they had information here the night before, we don't know.
Yeah, there was at least 2 members or 2 guests who actually stopped and kind of talked to us. So they didn't talk for very long, and they didn't like what we were saying or some of the reasons why we were there, but at least they took that time to kind of stop and talk to us. Like the one guy was saying that there's nothing going on. They're just a bunch of silly people doing silly things. That was basically it.
Well, he may have actually believed that too. That maybe is all that really matters to him.
Yeah, well, he definitely didn't want to hear anything
just
about...
Just a chance to hobnob with powerful people.
Sure. Why not, I guess.
We did see those hawks circling too, which made one wonder whether there were some carcasses.
There had to have been, I'm guessing. At least 3 or 4 hawks were circling.
Well, there was that one moment where there were 5 or 6 or more, it looked like.
Yeah.
After we first saw the hawk circling, and it was 10, 15 minutes after that, I snapped a couple of pictures. I can't wait to get home to see if, when I blow them up, whether you can really see them. It's a nice clearing in the redwood grove in the sky, and you can see them circling over there. It might have been over a meadow or something.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see that. We saw some chemtrails for the first time in 4 years of going to the Grove, at least.
Very prominent ones. In fact, that one plane we saw that had that kind of trail where no trail behind it except for quite a few degrees away, and then it was a very powerful double trail.
Yeah, it was almost like it went off and went back on or something.
Like they had the ability to make it invisible from some distance from the plane.
It was like the higher the plane went up, the less you could see the trails for some reason. And we did try to give them back donuts. Like I said, last year they gave us donuts and we didn't need them, and we tried this year to give them donuts. They wouldn't take them, so that's too bad. Thought there might be cyanide in them, I guess.
He said cyanide. There might be cyanide in them. It seemed odd that someone would think of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They still have that view that we're there for some terrorist purposes, basically. We're just standing outside.
I don't see any irony in that.
I'm sure they do. That was a little weird. The guy at the restaurant was a little weird too. But like I said, we were just sitting there eating, and he comes out and acts like he's looking at the sunset or looking at the river or something. But he's listening to everything that we're saying. And then after we leave the restaurant, then he comes outside and starts asking us about if we're like in a music band or something like that.
So you guys are in the music industry? And y'all said no real quickly. And then I interrupted and said, yes, I am. And for crying out loud, I was the one guy in the group carrying a musical instrument, which had attracted attention explicitly from others already throughout the day.
Absolutely.
Including from the couple when we walked into the restaurant and went out to the veranda.
Yeah, and he didn't make eye contact with you, or he only shook my hand too.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Well, getting a DNA sample.
Oh, great. That's all I need.
No, he needed it.
Oh, he needed it.
It's being analyzed as we speak. You're being checked through the international Interpol terrorist database. See if we get a match.
How does he get the DNA from his hand off, you know, to where he can test it or whatever?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of technique.
Yeah, maybe he just gave me cancer or something.
They know what his DNA is, and he's scrupulously avoided any contact with anyone else. Therefore, they can extract the DNA and all of the DNA that's clearly not his then, and that agrees with itself. Now they know it's this person that he shook hands with.
What would be the point of that?
I don't know. But I don't know what the point of any of that was. I think people are just weird and spooked.
Yeah.
I don't think he was up to anything concrete, really.
Yeah.
He was not competent enough, I don't think. I think he would have engaged me when I spoke up so loudly like that. He would have engaged me figuring that I'm talkative. He'll find out some useful information, whatever it is, just by engaging me. But that wasn't what he was about at all. He was just about seeing you bear a slight resemblance to one of the guys in Metallica.
Is that true, though? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I think there's a slight resemblance. Because of the way your hair is looking right now, you kind of let it go kind of long and wavy there. I think that's it. The combination of that and the way your facial hair is groomed, there's a slight resemblance to that one guy who kind of looks Hispanic in Metallica.
Interesting.
But it's not a strong resemblance.
Yeah, he's probably taller too. Come on.
I think he's taller, older, and more kind of stony rock musician looking too. You know. So it's not a strong resemblance.
He wouldn't wear a Captain America shirt.
He wouldn't hang out with four doofuses like us either.
Well, we had some employees come up to us and engage with us. Were actually talking to us.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting, really. All those groups of looked like restaurant help coming out to have their cigarette out there in the creek bed.
Yeah, which
like,
usually,
why aren't they allowed to have the cigarette inside the encampment?
I guess not. Usually only a few of them will come out. I've never seen so many come out at the same time, and they're all in the same area too. So, and it's weird. Like, why would they not let them smoke, considering everything else that is going on?
Sure.
That's a little strange too.
But I think there probably just isn't a place that's set off apart from the activities there where they just wanted to make sure that when they're on their break time like that, they're just away from the activities.
Yeah.
So that they don't get any more ideas or decide to start peeping, like listening in or making getting their iPhone out and making a video. In fact, now that I think of it, I don't think any of those guys with their cigarettes, I bet they aren't even allowed to bring iPhones and stuff like that.
No.
You know, when they work there, that's probably one of the agreements, because such a large group and there were a lot of young women there. There would have been iPhones out there when they were smoking, but I didn't see a single iPhone. So.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't either. Very curious. And we have one guy tell us that one employee told us that the workers are not allowed to make eye contact with the guests or the members of the Bohemian Grove.
That's weird. That would just be weird.
Yeah, like why not? Why wouldn't they be able to make eye contact? How? And I think you said it, or somebody said, well, how can they serve them if they can't see them?
Yeah, how can you provide personable and gracious service without giving any eye contact?
So they're probably like serving pre-set up dinners or pre-set up, like
exactly,
tables and stuff. So.
Yeah, everyone is seated at the table with their own spot.
Right.
And so the orders are, the person at table at chair 6 gets this item, and it's simple as that. There's no need to ever look at them.
Right. You just go there, you put this on the table, and you walk away.
Yeah. Put the plate down and walk away. Do not look anyone in the eye.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Straight to jail. one kid who actually told us that he worships Moloch or prays Moloch. So, I mean, come on, man. You just have to.
Saying that.
Well, of course, but it's like.
But I mean,
it's childish.
It's nothing. That doesn't disagree with what he's learned on his favorite heavy metal band's album. There's probably heavy metal bands that do have lyrics about Moloch and stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure their parents are proud.